Who's Willie?
All right, I'm gonna tell you about Willie. The first thing I want to do is put this chair over here close to you. He was a slave owner in the West Indies.
So?
So, I got these papers. And I call them the Willie Lynch papers. It's powerful stuff, man. The term lynching, they got it from his name. So he was a master of keeping slaves in line. So American slave owners asked him to share his secret. In Virginia, 300 years ago, he gave this speech. He says, I have a foolproof method for controlling your slaves. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. He says, distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. You must pitch the old black male against the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the female against the male, and you must use the male against the female. You must use the dark-skinned slave against the light-skinned slave. It is necessary that your slaves love, respect, and trust only us. It says the black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. But that's just some of it, James. I'm gonna give this to you, and I'm gonna let you read it.
Wait, man, this is real.
Don't matter if it's real, James. It matters if it's true.
Black LA gang members are terrified of Mexicans. They're all tough and big and bad until a Mexican show up. It's always kicking, cack, and being boo until an essay show up, and now it's me, Padre. And today we got another viral example of how black LA gang members are terrified of Mexicans.
So you think Hispanics run LA?
They do. Yeah, Hispanics really run California, except up in the Oakland area.
Yeah.
But nah, they most definitely run LA. And can't nobody deny that. If they is, they're a motherfucking lie.
And, you know, you have the Crips, you have the Bloods, but everyone can pretty much agree that the Mexicans run LA. Is that a fair assessment?
I'll say we run Southern California.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we're going to ride for you on this one. You just say the word.
They would not want to see Cypress Hill in LA. They get ran the fuck out of LA. Dead up. The essays rule the streets in LA.
Mexicans hate us. They just want to be us.
Like they'll side with the white.
Yeah, over us. Yeah. They don't, Mexicans, brown and black don't ride together against white.
That's crazy.
White and brown ride against black.
Niggas don't want to go where niggas. I'm gonna keep it real. Like I be thinking most blacks is scared of they scared of him. Because like the essays, like let me give you a scenario, right? Okay, a black hood can have been in LA for years, decades, right? Soon as an essay buy a few houses on the block in they hood, guess what? Now that's they hood. Y'all gotta share the hood with the Hispanics. And the blacks don't go to war with them or nothing. I done seen blacks not even go to war with them, right? Feel me? And when they do go to war, they always be friends with them first, right? But let a black family move on the block and say, man, we started our own crew right here. This our hood too. They're gonna be trying to mark them out, shoot them out, punk them, do every most blacks be cowards, bro.
So you would treat your own people differently than you would treat anybody else.
But blacks are scared of everybody but their own people, bro.
You don't think black people, they'll see a Mexican person and
Nah, I know for a fact they don't. It's like them niggas scared of Mexicans, homie. Especially if S.A. look like he gang affiliated. Them niggas look the other way when it come to Mexicans. Mexicans don't look the other way when it come to. But just look the other. They act like Mexicans is invisible. I have no beef with no Mexicans. They try not to even have an argument with a Mexican, let alone a squabble.
I should just said it. Niggas hate niggas. Like it's like something could happen. Say we get into it with the Mexicans, and then we get into it with some other blacks. For some reason, it's like niggas gonna gear up and go way harder on the blacks, and they gonna kind of like look to talk it out or look for ways to smooth it out before they let it go there with the Mexicans. It's like, I see it, like even in prison, something could happen amongst the blacks. Somehow a black could do something, they'll be ready to smash him, iron fist, like immediately, the whole dorm. Oh yeah, we're gonna smash it, immediately it's gonna happen. Something happened with the Hispanics, it's a whole lot of talking and, you know what I mean? It's a lot before they just take it there. It's a lot more like, they gonna take a lot more steps to prevent it before it actually go there.
They see, when it comes to the Mexicans, they want to politic. It become political. But when it comes to their own home, when it comes to their own kind and their own people, it becomes about violence and hurting you.
As a gangbanger, right, when you go on a mission, you might, when you looking for your so-called enemy, you driving through a different hood, down the street. You know, it's an invisible line. You cross this street, now you in another hood. And you hunting. And when you looking, you gonna pass up the dude that's dressed square, right? You gonna pass up a dude from a different race. When you see somebody that's dressed like you dress, and got the walk like you got, and got the body language like you gonna say, there you go, get him. And that's deep. Whew. You know what I'm saying? When you really unpack that.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? You looking for yourself just on the other side of town. And you gonna hop out and attack him and try to down him in a real way.
They looking to make you a victim, homie, because black people patrol and roll and storm LA looking to make other black people victims. They don't never look at the Mexicans and try to make them victims.
And walks the fish line. So, you know, I'm in cell like 4 at the time. So, you know, I see niggas, I'm banging on everything. Only people I'm not banging on is white boys and Mexicans. You feel me? They not my people.
We appreciate it.
You know?
Thank you very much.
It's regular that a nigga I'ma bang on everything black that I see.
There's something interesting. You said they've always had gangs. The only difference with the Crips and Bloods is they're anti-black.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was pro-black.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I stopped. That's why the movement stopped.
Yeah, the civil rights movement stopped because of Crips and Bloods. When we started going to prison, we had to fight the Mexican mafia, the black guerrilla family. We coming in there following George Jackson, Geronimo Pratt. And here it is, a group of young blacks coming in for getting into it with blacks. They didn't like that.
It's like Russia and America. When you're dealing with black and Mexican, it's always gonna be like Russia and America. We could be at points where we're cordial and we're not beefing and we like, but at the end of the day, we ultimately want to see the demise of each other.
The most self-hating, Sambo-ish sellout blacks in America are in Los Angeles, California. This is a fact. But when you redirect the conversation to the black gangs, oh man, they take it to a whole nother level. Like they take the coonery to the next level.
Black on black crime, boy. One day, we had did some spring cleaning, and we had put a lot of trash out on the curb. And I remember when I was pulling in the driveway, the garbage truck was pulling up to collect all of the garbage that we had put out on the curb. I'll never forget, as I was getting out of the car, these black guys were like, hey you, hey, whistling all loud, throwing their hand up over at me, you know, waving me to come to them, you know. So I went over there, I'm like, what's going on, you know? And as I was approaching them, they started saying, you know what we want, you know what we want. So I'm sitting there looking like, okay, no I don't, what are you guys talking about? And they said, well, you know, I figure since you live in this nice house, and you put all this extra garbage out here on the curb, that you would hook us up. And I said, oh, some money? Is it? Yeah. And I just looked at him, I said, dude, and I'm honest, I didn't have no money on me. You know, I was completely broke. And I opened my wallet, I said, man, I don't have any money, man. I said, see, I don't have anything, man. You know, I said, I just don't have it, you know? And the guys looked at me like, oh man, you know? And I'll never forget, one of the guys had one arm. this dude was looking so crazy at me, and he just started grabbing the bags and was throwing them all in the garbage truck, all mad and crazy, and looking at me at the same time he was doing it. And I remember walking away, and he looking at me just doing this. They were all looking at me, shaking their heads, and I was like, oh man. And I thought to myself, man, why didn't they go and bother my neighbor across the street who are white, or the other white neighbors who always sit a bunch of garbage out on the curb? They never did that to them. But because I was black, they said, oh, we can do this to him because we can get away with it. You see, and I'll never forget when I went in the house how I felt. It was like I couldn't call in on them. Because had I got the phone and called about their actions, then guess what? They know where I stay, right? Blacks are made to believe that if they commit a crime against their own, they'll get away with it. There was an article in the Detroit News about prosecutors and detectives not putting forth any effort to catch wanted murderers. It stated how one person that was wanted for murder was actually found at his home address. Blacks are more likely to end up a victim of a heinous crime in his own neighborhood than a foreigner living in the same neighborhood.
We should speak with some of the blacks in the neighborhood to see what they feel about anti-Semitism.
I mean, like, there we interviewed this guy, and he told us if there's gonna be like a Jewish guy and a black guy walking in the street, and you know somebody wants to rob, they would go for the Jewish guy because he's an easier target.
Actually, no, he's wrong. They would actually go for the black guy because you go for a Jewish guy, you get more time. Like the lawyers, the judges will actually give us more time if we rob someone of another race.
They're going to classify it as a hate crime.
Blacks rob each other because you get less time.
We're following breaking news on Detroit's west side where Pastor Marvin Winans has just been carjacked and robbed.
7 Action News reporter Tom Waite is live. Tom, what happened and what can you tell us about the pastor's condition? Is he doing okay?
He is doing okay, Joanna and Diana. In fact, take a live look. The pastor is now speaking with police and telling them exactly what happened. We're at Linwood and Davison here on the city's west side, and this is what happened as far as we know. The pastor had come here to this gas station, the Citgo. He was in an Infinity vehicle. He'd come inside, possibly into the convenience store at the gas station. He was then approached by a couple of men, we believe, maybe more than that. He was roughed up. They took his Infinity. As far as we know right now, it's still out there. We're making up a graphic as soon as we can, but again, it's a QX56 Infinity 0DRT73. That's the license plate again, 0DRT73. But the most important thing is the pastor is okay. Of course, Marvin Winans with an incredible legacy here in Detroit. Most recently, he spoke at Whitney Houston's funeral, and he is now talking to detectives about exactly what happened and trying to help. The pastor is approaching us, and he can tell us exactly what happened. Pastor Winans, we're live. Can we get you real quick? Come on over. Obviously, he's being good enough to talk to us here, and certainly a scary situation for him. Thank you, Pastor. We appreciate it. We're actually just live talking about what happened here. If you could tell us, you'd come to this gas station to get some fuel?
Yeah, just I was on my way to Toledo.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
And came into the gas station, and when I walked in, there was just at least 10 young men in the station, and when I came out, about 4 of them followed me out, and I watched, and being aware of my surroundings, I pumped the gas, backwards, looking at them, and then when the gas kind of spilled over, I looked down, and then one of them came and hit me, and then the other ones came out and just punched me. And
you got a cut. Right,
and I think I'm gonna go check my hand out. And quite savage, and I just, I'm from Detroit. I live in Detroit. I love Detroit, and I just didn't want to be, when you walk in, you say, this is not a good situation.
Right, you kind of knew something was going down.
I should have turned. I said, I'm not going to be afraid of us. I'm not going to be afraid of sons and our. And
do you think they knew who you were?
I don't think they did. I really don't think they did. And if they did, it didn't make much difference.
Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method of controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for controlled purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantations, status of plantations, attitude of owners, where the slaves live in the valley, on the hill, east, west, north, south, how fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black males versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slave versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, these slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful.
Double edge, what's going on? Hey Ralph, listen cuz yeah, I'm gonna explain how to make a slave. Yeah, I'm gonna take you back in the days to them slave masters. I'm gonna explain how to make a slave. Listen, I've got this big old house, living larger than ever. Bought some slaves at the auction, work hard, they better. Cause I've got this leather, wire lace, bullwhip. I'll tie him to the tree and I'll beat that nigga. Best call me master, best call me sir. I ship them in from Africa, and I'll even use the Bible as part of my plan and teach them that they the son of Ham. Cause Ham had a son that was cursed to be a slave and serve his brothers for the rest of his days. Make you my slave, you don't like it, oh well. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. I brainwash them well by changing the scripture. Send them to church, make them praise my picture. Cause I'ma put a picture of myself as the savior. So looking up to me is just a part of their nature. Take away their history, take away their past, take away their culture, kick them in the arse. Read a book in class, made so much sense, called Making of a Slave by Willie Lynch. And will I lynch? You damn right, sonny. I'll even kill some children in front of their mummy. Cause that'll make their mother wanna protect her seed. And fear will make her raise them to do what I need. And she'll breed that thought into future generations. And future generations will breed the same thoughts into future generations. Slave mentality will soon become just a part of their personality. And that mentality will get passed along. So they keep suppressing each other when I'm gone. And that'll carry on till the end of days. So I can sit back while the